Howdy, friends and floorheads. Welcome to Blade Runner 2040. Blade Runner is an R rated property exploring dark existential themes and moral ambiguity in a neon noir setting. Our story is set in a post racial society with a bleak future and includes references to drug use, sensuality, and other adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Sarah returns to a darkened Lincoln Park that is hosting a replicant rights rally in full force. A bonfire of the vanities reflect in a pair of expensive sunglasses, oversized for her face. They give her the look of a curious owl. She stops to regard the bust of some politico from hundreds of years ago, placing a sweet stick in her mouth. She often stops to read the legible portions of the plaque beneath it. In vain that this God shall not perish from the earth. Its meaning eludes her, but has the weight of importance. Perhaps if she tries hard enough, she thinks it will eventually make sense. But then she spots Corgi in the nearest cluster of rally goers and darts over to him, embracing him in a practiced, friendly hug. He smiles warmly, pressing something into her hands as he removes them from his neck. Then she's off, flitting towards a familiar group, popping the candy he gave her into her mouth. The group is listening to one of the sympathizer leaders prattle on about empathy and shared suffering, about how it's time for liberation and replicant sovereignty. Big words she doesn't understand, but then he tells them, "Kill the killers," Mercer tells us. "Embrace the paradox." She settles beside a guy knows slightly, attending with a slightly older girl that she's never seen. "Nice kicks," he observes, before adding, hopefully, "You ain't got the chin yin for that. You selling it but ain't giving me none." "Oh my nani oh nani mona yo, Schwanz loser." "Pendejo." The other girl grimaces in disgust and viciously pushes him away, turning on her heel. Sarah uses the distraction to fly away unnoticed. "Sorry I ruined your night, Caliero." She realizes the mood is kicking in when she approaches a group heaving back and forth, hyperventilating in commiserated misery. She stops short, suddenly overcome, looks around, desperate for escape. She notices a group on the fringes in joyous celebration. A few of them project a postcoital mood, but most just celebrate another day lived. On the streets, you take the win where you can. Suddenly, she's soaring, laughing, whirling towards the group. After all, she thinks, it's all I really want.
You're good, Connell.
Oh, welcome back. Well, he just did this little subtle magic thing. Welcome back, everyone, to Chapter 3 of uh, Blade Runner 2040. We are sliding into the midnight hour, shift 4 overnight. Our four detectives, Shu, Kai, Shriver, and Guillermo, have all come together from their respective cases to pursue a priority uh, of a mystery replicant that has devastated one of their own and put her into a medically induced coma. In shift 1, Shu and Kai were placed on an anemoid case that had mauled a UN trade deputy, Charles Whitman. Shriver and Guillermo would attend a press event for their boss, the commanding officer, David Holden. And before they got the news of Zula's condition. They then moved into a retirement case for Felix Dartman, who was there was an anonymous tip called in by a female claiming that Dartman was a Nexus 8 replicant and a participant in a long-rumored underground fight club. Now they are gathered together to try to figure out what to do next.
So I'm imagining I'm kicked back, kind of leaning back on my chair, arms folded. I'm assuming that the analyst and the fixer are going to be directing things, and if you don't, I'll jump in. But I still have a bit of an attitude. You can see it on my face, and I always do.
Kai, where are you? Where's your head at?
Well, getting this anonymous tip personally makes me want to slightly go to the red light district, which is where I wanted to go anyway. So I'm going to mention that, okay, Blade Runner team. Never thought I would be saying those words, but this anonymous caller could have more information within the red light district. And we can also try and find where an underground replicant fighting ring could be. And I looked directly at Shu and Guillermo because they look like the two that might know.
I mean, I of course I've got friends at the red light district, so I'm happy to go. I assume you or Bookmark or both of you are going to go check out footage or something, get something on the computer. Tappy, tappy, tappy.
Tappy.
Yeah, I think there needs to be some attention on the footage, looking for clues, but I like the idea of going into the red light district. That's never a dumb thing, in my opinion. I think that's secondary. I think first we need to comb through that footage. Now, guys, it's pretty late here. You guys want to be working this through the night, or do we need to start this first in the morning? That's something we need to think about.
Didn't realize you old guys had a curfew.
So let's talk about downtime real quick. So in Blade Runner, there is a mechanic. The time structure is broken into shifts, which are roughly 6 hours on average, but think of them as more fluid arrangements or structures. Out of every 4 shifts, one has to be off the clock in what we call downtime. It doesn't necessarily have to be sleep. The book is very clear on that. It just has to be a decompression period. So you can't do anything, you cannot initiate anything directly case related. However, as there are random tables and my own pre-planned downtime for some of you, sometimes a contact or an inspiration or an intuition can come to you giving a breakthrough in the case. So it's not always just, frivolity. But there are two types of downtimes, actually. You can have one at home or you can have one on the street. And it mechanically, it doesn't really make a difference. You're still going to heal 1 resolve damage and 1 health damage. Replicants will actually heal an additional health damage. In addition, it gives you a chance to interact directly with your key relationship, earning you a humanity point. So you also will get a humanity point for taking downtime. So if you take a downtime with your key relationship, you will have 2 humanity points, which you can then spend during your downtime to improve your skills. Promotion points can be spent on gaining new specialties.
How many what's our count right now, Connell? How many of us have had consecutive shifts without downtime?
So Shriver actually started shift 1 on downtime while the rest of you were on the clock. So that means you 3, Shu, Kai, and Guillermo, are due to take downtime or take a point of resolve each shift until you do. But Shriver has a shift that he can take downtime to get into sync with everybody, or perhaps remain productive through the night.
I mean, Shriver's going to work.
Yeah, you know what, DS? Maybe a fresh day tomorrow. I don't know. Kai, do you have a sense with this tip whether going to the red light district during the day makes any sense, or?
In my expert opinion, I think as soon as they made the call, they ran away.
Okay. Do you think we can sleep on it, or?
I think we can sleep on this one.
All right. Good seeing y'all. And I kind of kick my chair out and walk out the door.
Early, we will be here.
Yep.
Detective shit.
Yep.
Okay.
Kai,
Yes.
Kai. Before you go, if you're going to look into that, you're looking for the person who called it in. Does it seem strange that they called that in right when we saw him in a video with this other fella? Like maybe
Yes.
we actually have 2 victims here. So keep your heads up and think about who might have seen that video and who would have known that he needed to be taken out.
Thank you. Well, you will make working with a team of Blade Runners a lot less stressful.
Team stands up, leaves.
By definition, yes, this is a team.
Guillermo stands up, watches what just happens, kind of shakes his head, looks at kind of nods. I'll see you in the morning. I'm going to my office and taking a nap. I just head straight over to the office and just kind of lounge. I'm not going home. I'm just going to stay there at the office so I get to jump on this first thing in the morning.
Well, let's find out what Shriver plans to do for this shift.
So I'm going to download the Esper footage into my Kia, make sure I've got all the parts that I need.
Okay.
And then I'm getting the hell out of this building. Don't like to be here all that much. Apologize for the extra rumble. I've got a cold. So, and then it's into my spinner. I take a moment fussing over the damage done to the hood. But
When Felix Dartman jumped on top of it 50 meters off the ground.
Yeah. That's going to bug me. That's going to bug me a lot. But, I eventually get into the car, get into my spinner. I'm going to grab a bowl of noodles. And then I'm going to park my spinner over the hospital.
In Sector 2?
The hospital where our other Blade Runner,
Zulu.
blanking on her name.
Zula.
Yep, Zula and
Zula.
Bombe.
Yeah. Over the hospital
She's
where
at
Zula
the-
is.
Yeah, she's the Los Angeles University Medical Center. So so you fly towards Sector 2.
I fly out there the whole way, listening to Fife just ridiculing me, making fun of the fact that the car is ugly now, that, it's all messed up. It's not right. It's not right. A better flyer wouldn't have had that problem. Find a place to park the spinner, set a cigarette in Fife's hand, blast the music, and I start trolling through the footage. Looking for signs, looking for patterns, looking for what else is in there. Trying to find the pattern in this. It was taken by CCTV, so it wasn't a controlled thing. But there are things that are controlled here. There are choices made here, and I've got to catch them.
So let me move to Guillermo real quick. So Guillermo, you make it to your desk, and there is a personal message waiting for you.
Physical or like a digital email notification, or
More like a digital notification.
I go to open it.
Your delivery has been made, and it's waiting for you outside of your apartment door or your condo door. And it was a delivery made by a men's shop. Menswear shop, I should say.
Can't buy men there.
Or
Am I aware of? Did Guillermo order something that he's aware of, or is this
No.
out of left field?
You actually, it was delivered shift during the second shift.
Is there any contact information or any way I can reach out to the?
You can, but they are certainly closed at this hour.
I guess I'm making a trip back to the condo. Last thing I need is some random delivery being stolen off my porch.
The one thing we didn't figure out by this time.
Yeah, still got Amazon stealers.
So-
So yeah, I'm gonna make my way home. Back to the condo.
So, Shu, what would you like to do for your downtime?
I'm gonna go home. Might drink, and then some more, and then pass out. That's the game plan, at least.
Where is home?
So I live in a LAPD housing apartment in Sector 5. Really small, barely functional. It's more in square inches than square feet. And it's not something that I keep up. So there's me getting there and just clearing off, what is fun. Usually it's like the couch, and then I, release a lever and it drops down and I can sleep on it. But there's a bunch of laundry and stuff on there, so I just clear it all off and sipping a drink, maybe watching a holo or something, and then waiting for my eyes to fall.
What is your key memory? Remind us.
So when I was a kid, I was living in an off-world colony, so in my young teens, and it's kind of foggy for me, but there was definitely a lot of people, and there was a series of robberies happening at the colony, break-ins and things like that, and the colony had decided that the enforcement team was corrupt, and the reason this person hasn't been discovered because it was tied to them. They isolated it to this woman, and they said, she was the reason it was, and because of her connection with the captain of the security team there is the reason why she wasn't being convicted and dealt with. So there's a bit of a mob that was happening, a little bit of burning at the stake type vibe happening in the center of the colony, and I saw the captain of the security team go out and try to stop the mob from essentially lynching this woman, and they in that process he did stop them, but he didn't come out alive. And I think his demonstration of not only standing up for the rule of law but also standing up for a woman he loved, I think left a very big impression on me. So I think where I come from as a city speaker is, one, always making sure that I understand what's happening on the street so that something like that would never catch me off guard. I would smell that coming a mile away. And two, it's why I think I got into law enforcement. And then I fell into being a Blade Runner from there. But a lot of my cynicism about how the system works and the effectiveness of policing in a traditional way, I think, comes from that.
So through the fatigue and the alcohol, they sort of put you into this mellow state, somewhere between actual sleep and consciousness. And these thoughts this memory begins to intrude upon this sort of hypnagogic state that you're suspended in. We're going to come back to that, but I want to find out where Kai is what she's going to do for her downtime. So Kai is our only replicant in the group
That we know of.
I am going to go ahead and check on my key relationship at the hospital.
Okay. Put a pin in that then. Let me skip back to Guillermo real quick. So Guillermo, you take your spinner, right?
Yes.
You can walk. It's within. Well, no, because your condo is actually in Little Tokyo. Where do we have it?
Yeah, I think we were. It was supposed to be near Naplopo Pachinki Bar, which is pretty cool to read in. But that's right there next to Little Tokyo Shopping District. So yeah, it's there in the southern district of Sector 5.
So you land your spinner. There is no rooftop spinner pads. Where do you usually park?
Wherever I can find a spot. That area, because there's so many people in and out, there's it's a hubbub, especially in the evening with the nightlife. It's always difficult to find parking. So no matter what, Guillermo's having to walk a stretch to get to his condo. So he just finds the nearest spot, parks, sets a point on his data pad, and hikes into his condo.
Okay, so as you are walking from your spinner, and as a detective spinner, it isn't marked, but anybody who really looks at it, there's no way they could mistake it for a police vehicle. I mean, there aren't that many spinners in Little Tokyo, which is kicking this time of night, is not exactly a haven for the 1% that live above the 100th floor. A little old Japanese lady, she comes up to you and she says, "Yo, LAPD, somebody's stealing my power."
Come again? What's going on, ma'am?
And to punctuate her statement, the nearby lights of the nearest bodega, which is Shinsen Konbini, they sort of flicker. But she says, "Somebody is stealing my power. My apologies to all Japanese people. It was unintentional."
I pull out a business card and say, "Ma'am, call the number on this card. That'll get you to the main office. They'll send somebody out that's on the evening shift. A power issue is not something that I handle, and that's something that an officer that's on duty at the moment can help you out with." And I pass that to her and attempt to just kind of keep walking, not let her respond. And I have a feeling you might come back with something on that, but I'll let you.
Reverse bribe.
Yeah.
You hear her. What you're pretty sure is just a litany of invectives. Okay, so you make your way to the condo, and what floor do you live on? It's a fairly short building. It's closer to street level, so there's really no more than, say, 50 floors.
14, 15, somewhere in the middle that has neighboring access for a patio that overlooks a short jump rooftop next door. It was strategically acquired because of the ease of access and multiple exits. So,
okay.
Yeah, and that could be floor 20, 40, whatever's neighboring.
So, Shu, as you are sort of floating in this, I mean, not drunken haze, but
close.
Chill.
Yeah.
What about your dream, or what about your key memory? Sorry. What about your key memory is got you thinking, second guessing what happened?
What happened in that memory?
Yeah.
Where that comes from?
Yeah.
I had definitely built him up as a bit of a hero, and I had definitely decided she was innocent. The woman that was going to be killed by the crowd. But it's one of those things, like, as you grow up and you replay events from your past in your head, you replay them over and over again, and like you see them differently because you become an adult. And I think I begin to wonder whether I had prescribed this is a man of justice who is protecting the innocent. And I think as I've gotten older, I start to question whether it was just a man who was in love and protecting his lover. That maybe she did it.
So through this, you sort of you open your eyes, and it sounds like you have a sense of disillusionment.
Yeah.
This is, and I think I've shared the downtime with you in the chat of our Foundry game, but it's causing you some cognitive dissonance. It's mechanically, it's what we call a stress factor 2 test, which means you're going to take 2 resolve. You don't heal any resolve. I don't think you were down any, but you are allowed to make an insight roll to try to negate some of that damage. So why don't you do just make an insight roll for us and see how many successes you get.
Or alternatively, I keep all my resolve and I go to bed.
Oh, but it's just going to come out at night.
All right, I'm going to do my insight roll. So I've gone from resolve 5 down to resolve 3. And I assume because it's a stress factor 2, I need to have 2 successes. Is that accurate?
Right.
All right.
Well, any number of successes. 1 success will negate it, so you'll go down to 1. But if you get 2 successes, you take no damage.
Got it.
Just
So what did you
like
ask
a
for?
boss. Like a boss.
So
So why does this not affect you? Why do you not care?
I think I've done this a few times where I go, "What are you doing, Shu? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right, it happened. You learned from this. Why do you keep picking at that scab?" And I just kind of talk myself back out of it. And I do that with another fresh glass and pass out.
As you pass out, I just have one question for Shu. Why do you actually care?
Whether she was innocent or not?
Sure. About any of it. What is, in as few words as possible, why do you think Shu cares enough that this might cause him some dissonance?
Because it's what inspired me to be who I am now, right? The skill set that I have, the fact that I'm in law enforcement, all of that came from this moment. So I care, and I need it to be true because it's become my origin story. And if it turns out that this was just an idiot in love and had nothing to do with justice, and if anything, he was betraying his oath to the colony, that kind of messed me up a little bit because I've kind of built a whole lot of Legos on top of that base plate. So
Undermine your identity?
very much so, yeah. So that's why, like, when I start picking at that scab, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Shu? Stop it. Stop it.
Kai, did you choose a spinner via car or a spinner bike?
Probably a spinner bike.
Right answer.
Peloton of the future.
Yeah.
So the spinner technology is actually built off of anti-grav technology. And it was originally, believe it or not, developed in the 1990s in this version of our world. You rise up off of the... Well, I should ask, with a spinner bike, did you park on the spinner pad at the top of the tower, or are you at street level?
On top of the tower.
Okay. So, well, actually, it's not actually going to be at the top of the tower because the spinner bikes don't actually have that kind of altitude. So you're about probably
That's
halfway up, which is about in line with your offices, right? It's below administration. So you hop on your spinner bike and you have your helmet down. I assume you have like riding leathers.
Yeah.
It begins, so all throughout the day, since the middle of the day, a hot wind, what they call a hot wind, has been blowing in from the Kipple. So back in the 1990s, a dirty bomb went off just outside of Las Vegas. Wasn't horrible, didn't cause a lot of destruction because of its location where it was eventually shot down and landed. But there is still radioactive decay that the wind coming in from the continent over the Sierras, over the mountains, and actually, the geography of California is 7 valleys, right? So these valleys just whip it around until this hot wind picks up enough speed to kick out and overcome the offshore winds. And when it meets, when the area cools at night, the hot rain starts. It's not going to kill you. Well, not immediately. But when it comes out, these fancy new umbrellas come out. Everybody pops them up. Everybody's got a different color handle and sort of the spines of the umbrella. So from above, when these umbrellas unfurl, when it starts to rain, it's like a desert floor coming to life with color and vibrancy. And you find yourself sailing over this towards Sector 2, towards the Los Angeles University Medical Center where they have Zula. You have a few moments to sort of collect your thoughts. What's going through Kai's mind?
As of right now, it's going to be all of the events of today. It started off as a strange day. It ended as it's going to be a strange week. Meeting other Blade Runners, being around, honestly, people that do the same job as she, but differently. It's not necessarily off-putting, but it's just feels off.
It
To
is
not
not
be-
a normal day at the office.
Yeah, to not be just by yourself out doing this. So I'm currently coming to terms with, I might have to take other people's consideration to account.
So remind us, what is your archetype?
Fixer?
Correct?
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to, to lead you. That was
No. You're fine. You're fine. I was making sure it was the right one.
You get 100
So-
points.
Oh, thank you for reminding me points. So, Shu, please give yourself a 2 humanity points. And
Okay.
now, is there something that you would like to purchase with either your promotion and or humanity? So,
Not right now. I'm good.
Hold on.
So, Shriver, you are beginning to scroll through this footage, and you are aware that, I mean, because you don't really know Kai a lot, and you probably don't know her spinner bike, but for some reason, something told you to look at the right time, and you see her pulling into the underground garage for the medical center.
All right. Don't recognize it. Bike pulling in. All right. I probably pull my spinner, which has been floating off in a dark corner, but where I can see all the desert beneath. I'd like to maneuver it down so I can see the rider getting off, basically, unless they go too deep into the building.
Yeah, I don't think you can catch her going in because it's sort of a ramp down, right? So you see her disappear under this the concrete first level, the ground level.
All right. Fife is telling me I've lost focus. Never any good at it. Terrible analyst. But something about this just itches. So I will follow into the building.
So I'm going to pivot again to Guillermo, but as you do that, take a look at the description of the Esper footage and pick out some areas of that text that interest you, that you would like to focus in on. And when we come back, after we finish out with you, I guess, sneaking behind Kai, we'll go ahead and go back through that video and make some tech rolls, and we'll see what kind of clues that you can pull out of it. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Though I think once I know it's Kai, I might stop following.
Sure.
So,
That's worth exploring, though. So but I want to make sure I get Nick in here. So Nick, you get up to the 40th floor, or they're in between. And do you take the steps after a certain point, or you take the lift all the way up?
Oh, lift. Guillermo's not. He's done those stairs way too often, too much. He's very much like me.
So you exit the lift, and it doesn't take you long to. There's no package waiting for you, but you notice immediately that while the door to your condo is not open, it is unlocked.
Drawing my weapon, and I'm going to slowly enter my residence, clearing room by room, searching for who the hell unlocked my door.
You open the door, and the first thing that you hear is your shower. Now, the way that sort of the showers work is sort of like a Navy bath. You'll pull a cord or you'll hit a button and you'll get wet, and then you'll do your soaping up, sudsing up, and then you'll rinse off. It's water rationing. But it is unmistakable that you hear someone in your shower. Now, you know it's Kate. Kate Holloway, your key relationship. How do you know it's her? What does she do?
Oh, it's the smell.
Oh,
She uses a certain fragrance for the last 10, 15 years that I've known her, that has never changed.
you know, she's actually sprayed it on, because it's off-world, right? It's actually a flora from probably Mars. She's actually sprayed it on a note that is on a divan or whatever piece of furniture you have close to the door. You open it up, and it reads, "Put your weapon away. You won't need that one tonight."
Put it away. The smell, the note puts Guillermo at ease. Goes, closes the door, locks the freaking thing, and grabs a beer out of the fridge, waiting for Kate to finish getting ready.
So the light is on after you retrieve your beer. Do you get one for her, I assume?
Yes.
You can see into your bedroom, and the shower is, of course, just off of the bedroom. So you can't exactly see her, but you do see that there are 2 pairs of fancy clothes set out on the foot of the bed.
Guillermo kind of rubs his forehead like, what has she got me into now? I go ahead and walk in to the bedroom and try to figure out why there's fancy clothes for potentially me. I kind of know what's coming.
It's a male and a female, both clothes for both. You when you walk in, you can see into the shower, into the water closet. You see a silhouette, shapely silhouette. She has her hair sort of holding her hair up, and you see her from her profile as she activates the water for a rinse deluge that just flows over her. She exits the shower with a towel, lets her dry hair because she didn't wash her hair. She lets it fall, and she doesn't acknowledge your presence. It's as if she, knowing Kate, you're pretty sure she already knows you're there. Well, in fact, no, let me ask you. She knows you're there. How? But she's not looking at you.
Nobody exits a shower stall. What'd you call it? A water bucket? Water hole?
Water closet.
Water closet. Sorry. Nobody exits a water
Next to
closet
the
like that.
trough.
Yeah.
My water latrine.
My
My water holder thingy.
Holder thingy. Yeah, the place that makes smell better.
He knows he's there because he's clunking around a bathroom. He has no idea what it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just the way she steps out. It's obvious.
It's
she's making
performative.
sure- yes, I'm seeing all the perfect angles that knows how to get things started.
In that case, she reaches for a barrette or whatever women reach for after they come out of the shower, and the towel slips.
Guillermo's still trying to be polite, doesn't make a comment, doesn't stare, just looks away. Kate.
She gives up the game, straightens up, places the towel on the holder, and walks to you seductively. Puts her arms around your neck. Do you accept her kiss?
Yeah. Sorry, tried to not be as quick to that as I was, but it happened.
So she is verbally renewing your relationship or your sweet nothings, if you will. How long has it been? Remind us, how long has it been since you've seen Kate?
Seen Kate 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Talk occasionally on the phone or telecom, what the normal thing in Blade Runner. Sorry for not knowing that detail. But the last time we were in a relationship was years. So this is bringing up old memories and lighting something up that has been stagnant for a while.
She is rather insistently backing you to the bed while attempting to unbutton or disrobe you. You, of course, may intercede, and this doesn't happen. But if it does, we will cut away. We'll go back
What
to
do you
the
mean we'll cut away?
And break 10 minutes.
It's good money for this.
No, I think Guillermo's headspace with what's gone on throughout the day, and he's going to kind of take a firm stand and politely pause Kate and say, Kate, it's been a while. There's no way I could jump right into this. Have your beer and let's chat. So I leave the beer with her, and like a wuss, I head out to the living room and wait for her to join me.
Well, hang on. So before you leave, would you please make a manipulation check?
Oh, I want you to fail this so bad.
Oh my god, you knew what you were doing.
It's almost as if somebody set this up.
Not even at advantage.
No, you're lucky it's not a disadvantage.
No kidding. Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Guillermo's getting used.
you well, no,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not taking this away
I
from
won't
you.
stop.
You begin to turn away. You say, "No, Kate, I can't do this." And you begin to turn away, and she tries to draw you back gently, but in Kate's way. If you push this roll, which you absolutely may, you can diffuse the situation and we'll just go on. But if you either take the failure, the non-success, or push and fail, you will upset her. And she'll leave in a huff. You know Kate. And she'll make you feel as bad as she can while doing it.
Yeah, and Guillermo, knowing that, he's not going to let her get the upper hand in in that worst case scenario, he's going to accept what's happening. And although I don't know how this is a loss, but he's going to lean in and reciprocate, which is not a failure on the dice in real life. But
So, in your foundry, you should have seen. So, you're going to let her go ahead and get away with the seduction?
100%.
Okay.
She wins.
So, why don't you read us Kate's voiceover description in your best noir voice?
Oh, no. There's no noir voice.
Do it.
It's going to sound like a...
Some
Anyway,
yokel from Texas.
Kate Holloway had a face to launch a million bad decisions. She wasn't just trouble. She was an addiction. You saw her coming and still walk straight into it. And you'll do it again. And thank her for the privilege of being ruined. Kate's lustrous hair was as dark as life after her, and her glossed lips always wore the kind of mischievous grin that said she had a secret she wanted you to suss out. Worst of all, she moved like a tiger, graceful and regal, and probably deadly if you fell for the lure to pet her.
Oh, jeez.
Holler.
So, Shriver. Well, actually, let me.
He's changed his feed to a different camera.
Don't clip this.
Actually, so Nick, you gain 2 humanity points. Do you wish to spend? So I
Yes.
can't remember exactly how the rules say it, but I will let you. You can spend both humanity and promotion in the same downtime, but you can't spend like multiple promotions to get.
While
So
it's
it costs-
relevant to the story, I am bumping up my stamina
Nice.
with my humanity points. I have 5 or I have 6. I'm going to use 5 of those to go from a D to a C.
And C
Okay.
is the blue pill, right?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
gonna pump that up there. are you?
Generic. Eventually, I'll get the brand name.
Okay.
Do you wish to pick up a new specialty? Do you have? I think you have more than 5 promotion.
I do. I got to go look those up, so
Okay.
we won't worry
Take
about
your
that
time. In fact, anytime this session, we'll let you pick it up.
Okay.
So Kai, make an observation check for me.
Okay.
Oh, nope, don't go mute, Shriver. You're in on this too.
You don't want to hear my coughs, I assure you.
I'm there with you, buddy. Shriver, make a stealth check. I think they call it stealth in Blade Runner. That's the one thing, a downside to Free League games is they change the name of their skills from game to
Mhm.
game.
Right under agility on the right-hand column.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm back to the roll button is grayed out, and I forgot what we had to do for that.
When you clicked on stealth, it's grayed out.
It doesn't give you a D10 and a D6.
I have a D10 and a D6,
And when you click on roll, nothing happens.
and the roll button is grayed out, and I click either roll button and nothing happens. So
Interesting.
let
Well,
me just go roll
Old school.
D10, D6.
Weird. Only he can only roll at disadvantage.
Does he have a condition or something?
Oh, because the police undershirt armor. I see.
Ah.
Well, that is, I think, appropriately represented what I rolled. So yeah.
So Kai, you notice that one of your teammates is shadowing you through the garage.
Real helmet on, right?
And it's not Shu?
No, it is not Shu.
I don't see them, and I keep going inside.
Shriver, do you continue?
A helmeted figure is walking into the hospital?
Well, you're fairly sure it's her. It's Kai.
Oh, well then, If I've hit a point where I'm fairly sure.
No, you're sure.
Okay. Once I know it's Kai, I put my gun back in its holster, and I go back to the car. I go back to my spinner, key the door to open back up. The music's still blasting, and I get in and I pull away.
Oh, to another location?
No, back to hovering basically over
Okay.
the entrance to the building or out of the way, but back to analyzing the video footage, but where I have an eye on the doorway, the main entrance, such as it is.
So, what is the first part of that video that you'd like to take a closer look at, that you'd like to enhance?
So the first thing I've been doing is on the flight over, and while sitting, I've just been running it on loop. Just letting it soak in. I think I've seen it a dozen times, heard it a dozen times, just sitting in the back, and the things that jump out. When I stop to focus, the first thing I want to focus on is when the man in red goes for her pocket, picks her pocket. I want to zoom in on that, starting at the point of, was his hand empty when he started?
Yes. And when he comes out with what you imagine or assume is all of the chinion that was in her pockets, all the cash that she had on her.
Okay.
Which, knowing Zula, because you get as until the end of the month, you as Blade Runners get bonus pay for every replicant that you retire. And she retired easily 3 times more than any of you guys in the department. So she made some good chinion.
Well, I discard that as not terribly interesting, sadly, for me to have a lead. It doesn't tell me a why. So my next thing I go to is I go back to Felix Dartman. Scroll all the way back to the start of the video, where Felix and this man seem to recognize each other. And I just watch on loop for minutes their entire interaction until Felix disappears on the arrival of Zula. I'm trying to figure out who they are to each other and what they're saying.
In that case, rather than a tech roll, make an insight roll for me. Kai.
Ooh.
Zula does not. She only has 2 family left to her. Both of them are outside of her room. They're both asleep. I mean, you've got basically her information from the front desk. So which room she's in? She's in ICU. And so they're asleep and unaware that you are coming in. It's the halls are quiet, right? It's after midnight. Okay. Your footsteps have that sanitary echo.
Okay. I'll get closer to the family to see if they're going to awake as I get closer to the door.
Are you trying not to wake them?
If they wake up, it's okay. She's walking normal.
Okay. Then I will ask you, do they wake up? Do you want that to be part of the story?
They can.
Yeah. Okay, so it is a older woman who bears a striking resemblance to Zula, so you assume it is her mother. And a much younger male child. He is asleep on her lap. I mean, when I say younger, he's maybe 8. And he is zonked out, so it's the mother that wakes up. She speaks in a heavily accented city speak. Who are you then?
A coworker. Just checking on her.
Another Blade Runner?
Yes.
And she says this, you don't have to make an insight roll for this. She says it with some bitterness.
Yes. I know sometimes a life could be lonely.
You took her away from us. We can't do anything without going through through the police now. Why would you do this? Now, you weren't present,
Mhm.
but I'm going to assume that because you guys have sort of shared everything, Shriver and Guillermo have possibly passed on information that Holden put out a temporary guardianship order so that the LAPD, the RDU specifically, are the ones that have control over Zula's treatment and release and anything else concerning her medical treatments.
Oof. I come in peace to give my no harm. I only found out about an hour ago. Is there anything I can do to assist you?
Find who did this and give me back my daughter. No, she says my Zula.
I can do that, ma'am.
I will hold you to that. And she doesn't cross herself, but it is a West African, I hope it's West African, not East. It's an African religious mudra. She's obviously Muslim for what it's worth. Do you go in to see Zula, or do you sit with her and comfort for a while?
I will go in to see Zula.
See, now if Craig were running this, you guys would get a beep, beep, beep.
Got to work on the sound effects, Connell.
Glad it
Well,
post.
But this is me, so
Make a phone ring. I dare you. Make a phone ring.
So you hear. So it's first of all, it is this layered illumination, right? It's almost as if the room itself is darkened, subdued, but there is this ambient glow that sort of cuts into the green and red and yellow lights that are flickering on her bedside as the cylinder enclosed in plastic inflates and deflates. There is a hiss that is probably the worst of it. I don't know Kai's. She's only been in service now for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Just about.
So this is the first time that Is this the first time that you have witnessed this level of trauma? Because if you didn't know better, you certainly wouldn't be able to identify her. She's wrapped up in bandages and she's swollen, and she is not human at the moment. She is something out of a nightmare. So what is your key memory? Remind us.
Un momento.
If I recall correctly, you were in a club.
Yes. So it was a young teen memory. I was in a club and I got lost in a crowd of just anger. Someone was trying to pick a fight. somebody, I don't know who it was, but a person came in and tried to de-escalate the situation. And it worked for a moment, but then another person snapped and a fight broke out. This person was slightly a casualty, as you can say. And I see myself younger walking over to the person, kneel down, and they just ask, or they state more so, make sure they're okay. Never seeing that level of selflessness before. They weren't worried about themselves. And it strangely made me feel loved within the world. And I inspire to be that level of selfless.
So I think I have wronged Kai. I don't think you see her as just not human or so badly damaged. I think instead you have a degree of compassion. Is this correct?
Yes.
So walk us through the rest of your time here besides Zula. She can't interact with you.
Okay.
She's actually encased in a sheet, plastic.
So, what, and if there's windows, her mother may see this as well, but I'll take out
Yeah.
a book. The mom's not close enough to see that the pages are pretty much faded away, but she remembers it like the back of her hand. And she starts with the first chapter in my younger and more vulnerable years and just start reading her The Great Gatsby.
Nice. What part? So, how does the scene end? Does it end with you falling asleep? Does it end with you leaving?
It will end with me leaving, going back home.
Do you reach a point where you just can't read anymore, or do you finish a at a specific point? I'm asking.
I go through 3 chapters.
So, Faye, you get to the point where Faye is in front of the wispy curtains, and the wind blows, and Nick sees her. How is this time reading that passage? How is it different than when you usually read it?
Because I'm sharing this moment with someone, for lack of a better term, is my enemy on a
Because
fundamental level. She absolutely hates what I am, and I don't trust her to have my back in a situation like this, unlike the other 3 that I'm with. It's as if I'm seeing her for truly the first time.
well, that's interesting, because it wasn't the first time Nick saw. So interesting. Give yourself 3 humanity points
Oh, cool.
and
Evening.
let me know if you would like to, if you can. So I didn't go over the skill cost, but to go from a D to a C in a skill. So for instance, if you had any of Nick's social skills, it would cost you 5 humanity points. To go from a C to a B is 10, and to go from a B to an A rating would be 15. Promotion points, you can, if you spend them on specialties, they're 5 points per specialty. Blanket, fire sale. It's as low as they can go. Is there anything that you know that you want to spend points on?
I think I want to put my hand-to-hand combat from a D to a C. Because I made a promise. Might come up.
I believe you can make that change, but if you
Yes.
need me to, let me know. Shriver. What was your insight roll? I missed it.
It was bad. I would like to push it.
Okay, well, not yet. Hang on. So you were focusing on Dartman and this mystery replicant. You scrub forward and backwards, back and forth. So the video, as described, a tall figure strides confidently into frame, crossing from the upper right to the center of the image's bottom, where another figure, obviously Dartman, embraces him with masculine bravado. They speak for several seconds on the video until behind him, in the frame's far left corner, Zula emerges, her blaster gripped and ready, each step charged with determination. Then Dartman slips away. I mean, just fast. Of course, the frames are dropped in this footage. What are you looking? So, have you told yourself? Have you figured out what it is exactly that you are looking for? I mean, sure. What's their relationship? Okay, they clasp each other like brothers in arms. That much is clear. But I don't. Maybe it's that you haven't identified what it is you're looking for. So before you can push it, tell me, what is it Shriver knows is there, but he can't get a sense of it?
These two men know each other. They're close enough that they would stop on the street and talk to each other. Men that are just involved in fighting rings don't necessarily do that. They pass each other. It doesn't make sense. It's a break in the pattern. It's a break in the flow. They stopped for each other. But when the heat came, Dartman disappeared. So they didn't stand together. And then somebody wanted Dartman dead. Not long after that is Shriver's assumption. So they're close. Close enough that Dartman knows things. But not close enough that Dartman would stay. And I know that Dartman was quite willing to stand up to a couple of Blade Runners. That's the curiosity. If he'd stand up to two Blade Runners, why did he run from one?
Go ahead and make your push.
Roll again. Have I forgotten mechanic? Oh my god! It's the noodles. So I got them from a new place. It was on the way. It's Sector 2. I don't spend a lot of time in Sector 2, and these are atrocious. Like, they're chewy on the back end of the teeth. Like, there's something stuck back up in there that's not supposed to be, and yeah. Oof.
It's that and the fatigue. All right.
Okay.
This is the fourth. This is the third shift. It's been a long day, and you just can't see it. You're right. Everything you said, actually, I will give you. You're right. You're on the right track. You know you're on the right track. But something is eluding you. So let's go back to Guillermo real quick. You are in bed with Kate, and she is nuzzling. She is not sated. She never is. And you just know you're going to be sore tomorrow. That's a given. What is how does she address you? In these situations, at least.
Minuteman.
No, Guillermo's cut above the normal man.
I don't know how to play RPG.
Just don't do it one-handed.
Two hands. Real quick, as a side note, I'm using my promotion points to smokes. So once per shift, I can smoke my cigar. Kind of fits the situation.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now.
Good old Kate.
Good old Kate. Yeah.
I think. Actually, you know what? If you may, if I may, would you like a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Because how does this land? She actually calls you Diaz when y'all are in bed together. Your last name. More formal address, but yeah. And she may call you Officer Diaz as well, but we'll go with Diaz for right now. So she says, as she traces idly on your chest, I have a +1. And then your eyes drift to the clothes at the bottom, probably on the floor now. And I thought that should be you.
Kate, why do we keep doing this? This is fun. Is there something to this request? What's this event you want me to go with you on? What's going on?
I am expected, and she looks hurt, like, I am expected to put in an appearance at a society function, but I couldn't go. I couldn't go after, or for not seeing you first. I needed something to put a little starch in my spine. And she says that in sort of mocking your voice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I'll say, Kate, you know how I react to some of the situations you put me in with these people. But for you, I'll do it. But know that I'm getting out of my comfort zone for you. This is very taxing, being around some of those people that you that are at these parties. But I'll do it for you.
Well, and she gets a giddy little, almost a little girlish smile on, and she says, well, and she looks over at your clock. It's okay to be fashionably late. Yeah, she makes another move.
Well, you both have to win here, so yes. He will not stop.
Oh, the dues we must pay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shriver. It is actually Shriver's normal shift, so I think you should have an opportunity to do something else if you'd like. With the video or with another piece of one of the other handouts.
Actually, with as much fail as I've had on the video, probably rather frustrated. I think I'd like to call it in, and I'd like to. Do we have a doxy on staff?
No. Okay. There are no other Blade Runners or anybody who would sort of be of archetype caliber, I should say.
Okay. Is there any way that I would have of trying to track down who made, I know it's an anonymous call, but do we have any tools for trying to backtrace that anyway?
I'm sorry, which?
Felix Gartman.
Yes. So if you were to spend a shift at the mainframe / Esper wall, you could try to conceivably track him or the mystery replicant using the Esper. So let me go over a little bit about the Esper. I don't want to go into too much of the technical details, but the idea, and it's under a super secret patent, right? But the idea is that certain areas are blanketed with all of these electronic eyes, and they capture this they're wide angles, so they capture all angles at all times. And through the Esper wall, you can actually put together a holographic image, right? Sort of this immense amount of information in this picture that you can then go in and say, oh, I want to look at it from this angle, or I want to sort of focus in on, resolve this military patch that is on his the mystery replicant's coat. You can do all sorts of neat things with that to sort of tease out some information, some subtext maybe that is in these handouts. But because of that, you can also track their movements until they either hit a blind spot or just go inside where there aren't any closed circuit TVs, Esper eyes, and that is mechanically represented by a tech roll. And if you do it at the Esper wall, a mainframe Esper wall, it's actually at advantage.
Okay. Then let me. Shriver's going to drive.
Okay.
He's going to drive, which for him means the music, the crowds, the flow over the desert. He's going to lose himself in that for a bit. And then I will go into my next shift and I will dive into that Esper again.
Okay. So to close out this shift, Guillermo, you find yourself at a swanky party in the fashion district.
Oh, this party is tonight.
Oh yeah. You think she was just going to
so
leave?
Exhausted. Yeah. Okay.
At that party, and I think we're going to flash back to it throughout the rest of this session. So
I probably have to get a little drink of water for my throat.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say after we get to this party and you meet some of these people, which I'll sort of unfold later, we're going to reconvene at the next shift. And why don't we take a break? Welcome back to Blade Runner 2040. We are sliding into Shift 5. Shriver, I believe you're going to spend the shift at the mainframe and Esperwall.
Yes.
So do this. I'm assuming that you guys meet in the task room, figure out where everybody's going to go, your assignments for the day, and then you split off to immediately get to work. If I understand it correctly, because we spoke during the break, Guillermo, Shu, and Kai are all going to go to Sector 1, the red light district. So I think this is the best way to do this. Shriver, why don't you make a list of everything that you want to check at the mainframe?
Mhm.
And then what we're going to do is I'm going to have you roll at advantage, your tech roll, and you will be able to sort of assign from each item on your list 0 to 2 successes, and that will depend on the quality and the amount of the information that you get, right? So if you don't put any successes in, there's still some information that you're going to get, some just vague background. 1 success will get you some limited information. 2, which is a critical, will get you a pretty much all the information that is available on the mainframe. Does that make sense? How are we flying to the red light district?
Oh, it's all 3 of us.
He was in the jump seat then.
Actually, I'll go separate. I tell you guys, I'm gonna meet you there. I've got a contact or 2 that I can talk to as soon as I have a sense of if I get any sense of where these fight rings are happening, I'll reconnect with the 2 of you.
Okay.
Who on that list that I've provided you guys of your assets, pick one of the ones that's on the street while I talk to Guillermo and Kai, and let me know who you're going to hit up.
Okay.
But Guillermo and Kai are in the same vehicle?
Yes.
Hmm. Unless you want to ride with me.
I'll ride with you.
Come on. I pass you a helmet.
Oh, that's right. You're on a bike.
But you are going in the car, in his spinner. Okay. So the day dawns. I think it dawns gray. The hot wind has cooled down, but now it's just sort of stagnant, and the air is humid and oppressive, even in the morning. The late night revelers are all just sort of skating down the streets, meandering home or wherever they go to avoid the sun. There is a LCD screen on one of the buildings that you pass, and it has the latest ad. It's not a hollow ad like Guillermo saw in the first shift, but it's just sort of this 20-story advertisement of a well-dressed, handsome, youthful appearing, dark-skinned man who has just a very sort of stylish tux. Almost probably saw the style last night, as a matter of fact. Guillermo. And he is posing. He's on his profile. Got his bad boy stance on. And the advertising voice says, "The Zephyr air purifier." And he sort of poses and shows it off to the camera. Passes his hand over his mouth, and this little sort of rebreather device it's very stylish. It has kind of curly cues at the side. And it shows it from different angles. And you're flying past into the red light district as you pass this, and his voice comes over. and he says, he removes his hand and it's gone, and he puts it in his pocket, and he says, "This is, the newest tech, but who is actually the magazines have coined as the most beautiful woman left on Earth." Kind of steps behind him, puts her arm over his shoulder in a very sort of intimate gesture, and blows in his ear. And the final words of the advertisement are, "Because Voronova's is the only air I don't need to purify." Now, Guillermo, Voronova was at this party last night. She's just a celebrity, famous for being famous. You don't really keep up with this sort of thing, I expect. And she is objectively better than cute, we'll just say. You don't know if she's the most beautiful woman left on Earth, but the implication being that all of the really beautiful people have left for the off-world colonies. You didn't have any interaction with her. She had her own sort of, cabal around her, or coterie. But she didn't look happy. She looked like she was forcing it. You locate the Cherny Lotos brothel, which is Russian for Black Lotus. You park your spinner at the designated locations and make your way. Now, it's probably closed for business, but how are you going to get inside? Assuming that it is occupied 24 hours.
I want to first politely attempt to call the front desk.
Politeness does not seem to work.
Okay. That is fine too. Is there any signs of anyone inside? Or all
Sure.
quiet?
No, actually, your polite tapping drew some attention. You see the shadow of a figure behind the darkened glass door, but that figure retreats into the interior.
Becomes a full-fledged police knock.
Shriver, what did we decide on?
So 3 things. One of them takes longer than the others. 2 of them are checking call logs. I want to try and figure out at least where, if not who, gave us the tip on Felix Dartman. I also want to track the records that should be more available for Zula. Who sent Zula there?
You have reminded me that before, during your time when you met this morning, Lieutenant Joshi came in and delivered a case file on Dartman. Now, I have provided that in our chat. So you guys, if you haven't looked at it, you may look at it now. And that will give you the information, at least some of that.
So I now have a case file on Dartman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the answer to your question is, it was a female caller who spoke in a monotone voice, punctuated by piercing high intonations and volume, apparently in an attempt to mask her voice. You can replay it. It doesn't require a tech roll. And yeah, it's pretty much just as it's described. She'll start just talking like this and then go, "Hi," in a feeble attempt to spoof. Your guess is this is not somebody who either thought this out or is familiar with the technology.
And this is the call that revealed Dartman.
Correct.
Okay.
This is the anonymous tip. You may make a insight roll without just normal to see if you can pierce any attempt that she made to disguise her voice.
All right.
Shu, did you decide who among those contacts you would like to hit up, or who is there on the red light district?
You thought I was a bad GM. I'm a worse player because
Oh,
I am going to curveball.
Give it to
So there's several streets deep, several hallways, a left and a right. I know where I'm going, but
Mhm.
anybody else would just think I'm going in circles. I end up at a door. It is unmarked. It's got kind of a slot there. And I give a very particular knock. I'd like the slot to open, and I show a card and put it
Okay.
back in my pocket, and I'd like the door to open, taking me into the Chrome Frost brothel.
okay. Chrome Frost.
Yeah.
Who runs this establishment?
You know what? I don't know.
Hmm?
It is for very creative tastes, and the only thing I care about is Iris. So I'd like to just go to the front desk, plop down some chin, and go ahead.
Oh, honestly, do you mind if we change this location to a place called Paradise Evolution?
Sure.
Everything's the same, except it is a slightly higher class establishment than perhaps you were thinking. But Iris is still there,
Okay.
and
I slap some chin on the at the front desk, and I say, "Iris around the world."
that would indicate what?
Then I'll have an hour to do
With
whatever
Iris.
I want.
Ah, mark off a chinion.
Okay. I am broke.
So back to Shriver real quick, because it looks like you've. Did you make your roll?
For my. Oh, you're talking. To
I'm sorry, Shriver. Real quick.
Dice
Yeah.
were rolled.
These eggs were found.
You say I
on a-
made the roll,
Even on
Maybe
not
D10.
entirely accurate.
It's a strong
So-
word.
You know, you've got the gain too high, and you weren't actually expecting her to go high like she did, because why would anybody do that, right? And so you you had to back off real quick, and you missed something when she moved from her monotone to higher. There's a signature there. You can feel it. Would you like to push the roll?
Sure. Let's push.
There it is.
Hey.
Little eyeball action. The bookmark.
So the call was traced to a VidPhone booth in the red light district. You hear in the background something that you can enhance with a tech roll. But as for her your insight on her, she, when she speaks about Dartman, she knows him well. When she speaks of him like she doesn't have to think of his name. So she knows him, and she knows him by Felix Dartman.
All right. Then let me try to figure out what that sound is in the background that I'm picking up on. There's something that can pen it, whether it's a shop jingle, or the sound of Shu walking in and ordering things. What's going on in the background that I might catch.
Okay.
That'll
Make
help
a
me
tech
pin
roll.
this down.
Make a tech roll at advantage. So Shu, I suspect this is not just for blowing off steam.
No.
That you have something that you would like to talk to Iris about.
Yeah, I get into the room. The rooms are small.
You disappoint her, by the way.
I have free time.
And I'd like Iris to come in.
Yep.
And I pull out a small case from my inside of my jacket. It has a pair of non-prescription glasses that I hand to her that she always wears when I bring them. And I slide over her favorite pack of cigarettes to her. And I say, just talk tonight.
I forgot. Let me shoot you, because I believe Iris has a.
Oh my God, you have somebody. So Iris, I made up. I didn't realize like Iris was a person.
Oh,
That's pretty
nope.
crazy. All right,
Iris is a person.
All right. Now this is going to be Timu Nick reading this, not so. We have Nick reading at home. Iris moved through the world as if it had never given her a reason to flinch, though she must have encountered Jel Schuyler's human first lackeys by now. She was a tow-haired Tenyo with no hesitation in her gaze, no armor to shield her soft wonder that lived in her kind eyes. She saw connection with a kind of purity that disarmed you, not because she was incomplete, but because the act of reaching out delighted her. She touched others the way a better world was meant to, lightly, warmly, and devoid of guile.
Just talk today. Ooh.
So, are you still connected with the other types of entertainment that happen here? The more violent type?
I hear what's going on.
So, let's say, the same way I like to do the thing that we did last time, let's pretend that I also like to watch replicants fight. And I've got a certain kink for watching Nexus 8s. Would you in any way have potentially a referral? And I'm being very physical with her. Not sexual, but physical. So I'm like rubbing her arm gently. I'm sitting very close to her. And I think the reason I had to tell her that it was just talk is so that I could do this without her thinking I wanted more.
Her eyes move to a corner of the room and then back to you. Not heeding your stated purpose for being there, she begins to remove her clothing and walking towards you in a seductive manner. She doesn't undress you when she gets there. If you're seated, she proceeds to give you a lap dance. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's great. In fact, kind of what I've anticipated because I know there's cameras.
And she leans forward to you, taking your earlobe in her mouth, and she whispers, "Not here."
So I spin her around and kind of forcefully press her into my lap because I'm sitting. And I start nibbling on her neck and take just a moment to whisper back that I'll meet her at our coffee spot when she's off.
So,
Or tea spot, I should say, probably tea.
I think you get your chinion's worth. Actually, she takes it as a challenge, so I don't know how successful she is.
As soon as I
But-
realize that the talk will be accomplished,
Mhm.
then like I spent the money. I'm broke. I might as well. And I don't know whether you heard that description of Iris, but sign me up. And she's wearing the glasses I brought.
That's right. So if you didn't catch the illusion, tow-haired is just blonde, sort of flax, straw blonde. But Tenyo is on the streets, especially a city speaker would know this. In Japanese mythology, it is an ethereal, angelic sort of being full of grace and who would deliver joy to all she encounters. She can't help herself but fill in a little bit, give you a little few tiny tasty morsels about what will come when she meets you. And she tells you your commissioner has been a very, very bad girl. So I think if it's okay, we're going to hold off on the rest of Shu until next session. Shriver,
I take a long time, so that's smart.
longer than some. Hey, Shriver.
I take longer than
Shriver.
Shift Diaz.
See what had happened was
So you hear a public transit, not a metro cab. I mean, there's a metro cab in sort of the soundscape, but as you're listening to it, you hear one of the metro transportations call out the street name. I don't know. I don't have one prepared, so it doesn't really matter. But you have the street, and you also have you have all the information you need to coordinate with Metro to find out precisely where it stopped.
Okay. So I've got enough to pin the location. All right. My other question was, who sent Zula, or was she working a case? Do I have a log on that?
Did you put any successes on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had two. My last roll was a request regarding our phone
Right.
conversation.
So that doesn't count. Did you? We didn't roll for just a general list. It doesn't matter. I was going to give it to you for free. She's just roaming. Nobody sent her in particular there. As near as you can deduce, it was just unlucky coincidence. Now, you know Zula has a nose for replicants. You don't know how she knows where they're going to be. You don't know how she knows that something's going to break, but she does, and it's reliable. You know, her gut is a sixth sense. So it doesn't surprise you that she just happened to run across replicants. It does surprise you that she perhaps wasn't as prepared.
Okay. Then the last thing, and this would be probably a longer deal, would be diving through the footage in the Esper and trying to track Redcoat, the fellow in the duster.
Make a tech roll at advantage. So you're trying to track his movements?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Make a tech roll at advantage. And wow. So I will tell you, you get a little bit of information. You will get more if you can get a critical success.
Remind me again what happens if I push 5 times in a session.
So you can actually re-roll the D12 because you stand a much better chance of getting a higher than not a much better, but higher than a 7. So if you would like to.
Just real quick. So Jesse, the answer to that question is you have to play Kate and Iris in the next session.
It's going.
No, that was one Chinian? Damn. Well, I mean, sacrifice is made.
You're a young man.
I think in that session I would not be. All right. So roll d12.
You are not compelled to re-roll the d12 unless you want, but you might get a higher success. 10 to 12
I'm
is
playing an
actually
obsessive compulsive who's not getting the answers he needs. He's gonna bloody roll the die.
That's right, baby. Push the
Do it.
button.
has to be two.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Well,
Bad
actually,
noodles. These noodles, yeah.
hang on, let me, because I'm gonna roll a d8 for you because you should have been able to roll that too.
Nope.
No,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
the tide has turned. So he
Tide's been there for a while.
so
So
I
on
keep saying the tide has turned. I keep saying the tide has turned. It's a kid's pool.
So this
No
mystery
time.
replicant, when you've watched it so many times now, you can close your eyes and just by the beats. He reaches into Zula's pocket. He pulls out this wad of Chinian. He goes off screen, walks back with her shotgun over his shoulder, and then this time you caught it. He looks directly into the Esper eye. Just for a split second. You didn't catch until now. He knew where it was, and then he knew how to disappear. Is there anything else that you'd like to do before next session?
I doubt I will succeed at this stage. No, I think I've asked enough questions and ground through it. I think at this point, the frustration of knowing that an instinct was right, but that he couldn't pin it down. He's
Right.
still just right. He can't clearly identify the pattern. His hands are itching. Shriver's like scratching at this point, and definitely needs a smoke. So I think he's stressing.
And you have that talent, Smokes, correct?
Talent, yes.
So I think you should have taken a resolve damage for this being your fourth shift, but that Smokes will actually take it back. So don't mark another resolve off. Guillermo, Kai. So Guillermo, you're watching Kai do the knock.
Yeah, and I think Guillermo's going to be not too close. And I imagine one side, if not both sides of this building, have access somewhere, right? Is there one side that has access maybe to the rear of the building?
Yeah. So you pull up, you look on your Kia, and you pull up the registered floor plan, and there is such as you describe. So you want to go to we'll call it an employee's exit entrance or loading dock. So before you do that, there is movement towards the door. Do you still want to go into the back, or do you want to stick around with Kai?
I'll stick around with Kai, and the back access is a secondary plan if needed. So I'll wait for what transpires with Kai.
The door opens, and a fussy little man in a rather sort of nondescript doorman's uniform, footman, answers the door. He is otherwise sort of nondescript.
Mhm.
Kai, now there's nothing really that sets replicants apart, but you can, between your gut and your familiarity, of course, you can spot them most of the time. He looks like relatively newer service model.
Okay.
May I help you?
Yeah. I need to have an audience with Charles Whitman's favorite girl.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know to whom you were referring. Guillermo, how are you
Ow.
addressing this? Oh,
Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, wait.
Guillermo, while she's engaged talking to this guy.
Guillermo's just watching from afar as backup, not engaging in the conversation, but
Okay.
being present to kind of see what's happening.
So is it safe to assume that you're not going to step in unless something escalates?
Correct.
So, Kai, have you produced your badge?
Not yet.
Okay. Yes, he is stonewalling you. He's just sort of giving you the brush off. The standard. Look, we're not going to talk about our clientele.
Oh,
Have a very nice Disney day.
I put my foot in the door and say, "Oh, I forgot something," and pull out my badge.
Please make a manipulation check at advantage.
Okay.
You know, I shouldn't even bother, but let me try here. Ah. So you are one up on him. He hesitates with your foot in the door. He is pretty loyal, I think, and he's going to not, he himself will not acquiesce. But I think in this case, a feminine voice from behind him with a thick Russian accent, but still in English. No, Roberts, please let the officer in. Now, on your way over, because all this is free information, and I forgot to remind you that you could do this, you were able to pull up some public information on the Cherny Lodos brothel.
Okay.
And you know who the madam is. So I know it's probably written from a male gaze perspective. I apologize. But Dika, if you would please read.
Okay. Magda Rumbus was a swarthy woman who spoke with the remnants of a European accent, not Soviet, but somewhere east of the Urals. Middle age had transformed the obvious breathtaking beauty of her youth into something more lived in, yet no less remarkable. What set her apart wasn't just a comfortable profile, but her sheer presence. A quiet authority steeped in confidence, born of experience. Here was Jane Austen's Woman of the World, her every graceful movement steeped in the promise of sensuality. And Magda looked like a woman who keeps her promises. Sorry, my contacts are like glazed over.
And I will say that I wish I could change the color scheme on the journals. Yes, Roberts, let the officers in. And you come into this really kind of swanky looking establishment. So Paradise, not that you've seen it, but Paradise Evolution is swanky, but at the same time kind of scuzzy. This is Moulin Rouge transported to Los Angeles. And you notice as you both enter, I assume, Guillermo, is this correct?
Actually, I think trying to catch the body language from Kai, if she feels that she needs to be solo based on comfortability and not needing a recently smells of sex Guillermo present. Does Kai need the backup, or does Kai have it? So I'll refer to her because I have something else that I could do.
Kai will always says that she has it.
Okay.
She's good.
I will stay outside waiting, and I'll have something else to do when the time comes.
So we're going to wait on that till next session. Is that okay?
Yep.
Kai.
Mhm.
Magda is wearing her morning attire. She looks not. She looks tired, but not exhausted.
Okay.
But you notice as she approaches you, she has her hands folded, palms sort of canted, sort of, not pointed up exactly, but you notice that on the back of her left hand is a grinning skull outlined in a purplish blue ink that has faded with time. And on her wrists, or the hilt on each wrist, is a hilt of a dagger in the same ink with barbed wire crossing over through the guard. She smiles with a secret smile, like she expected she expected someone to show. And I think it's time to go to credits.
All right, we'll be right back. Now we're back.
All right, welcome back. Shu, Craig,
Yes, sir.
Stars and Wishes.
So stars was easy for me, and it is the fact that Kai will not let the tiger bone go. I just love this idea that even though Shu was the one that was bitching about getting reassigned, that like Kai's not even mad. Kai's just like, we're going to solve all of this all at once and everything. So I really love that. And I think it's a great insight on who Kai is. So that's my stars. Wishes, I'm really looking forward to a scene with Iris at the coffee shop, especially with the little teaser I got about my new commissioner and that she's been a naughty girl. So I'm wishing to have that scene with Iris.
Dika.
Stars, I'm giving it to Nick. It's hilarious. Entire time. Very, very great character. Wishes, can't wait till next time we play. Honestly, I'm wondering how Speaking with the Madam's going to go for me.
Shriver, Jesse.
Stars. I'm going to go with the theme here. Stars. The dice not allowing Nick to escape that room. Not allowing Nick to leave.
So, just very quickly, do you feel like the failure ever stopped you, or was it successfully sort of fail forward for this?
Are you talking? Yeah, for me trying to get out of.
No, for all of Shriver's dice failures.
Oh no! When I said the stars was dice failures, that was Nick trying to leave the room.
Oh,
because that was a great. We're like he was trying. His character was trying to make a choice.
Right.
But this is the lovely thing that dice do is they're going to throw that little bit of chaos in there and go, yeah, you wrote this scene. We're going to give you that scene instead.
Yep.
So I love that moment.
So before we move on, then, just to throw that to you, how did you feel that because I don't think you had a single success this session.
Damn.
I think I like
assault.
through one bare success on a push.
Do you feel like
but
it?
no.
Do you feel like it stopped the action or the flow?
So it gave us a different story, right? Basically, the analyst is not successful today. And there are little bits that you fed out there, but this did not work. And so next episode we come back to it's like, all right, so analyzing this for whatever reason, blame the rules or whatever, this is not working. And so he's going to have to take a different approach.
Love that.
In this case. So yeah, it's irritating to not succeed on your dice, but I'm just gonna kind of roll with that and go, okay, well, that's the story of this moment. So
wishes.
Better dice. No. No, wishes. You guys with your successes and all that. The other three, I think, got some really interesting things going on and some leads. And I look forward to seeing how those go, but also seeing as Shriver shifts gears to see the connections that he'll start to make. So
I feel like in my mind, the way these characters have built out is I feel like you're going to end up being the nexus of everything. I think you're the one that's going to tie all the yarn together, and I'll be interested to see how that happens.
So I get the Poirot moment. We line up.
Yeah, you're the analyst, right? Yeah.
We're data collectors.
Because it's Blade Runner.
Yeah, and it's cool when you think about it that way, because each of us are collecting data in our own different ways, right?
Yep.
Inspector does it one way, Fixer does it one way, a city speaker does it a different way. Bring it back to the analyst. He's like, "You guys are fools."
Air conditioned
Instead
office.
of hall.
So Guillermo, Nick, stars and wishes.
Star was Jesse rolling with the dice. The reaction was so. I love the reaction. Just instantly go bad noodles. That was totally in character on both as a player and as in this world. It was awesome. So
you played MCP with Jesse.
Yeah, I've heard it. So it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, this is. I loved everything that he brought to the table today and rolling with the failures, because the failures make it even more interesting. It was worth watching for that alone. And then the wish is for tonight's session not to have any clips pulled out and
Used against you.
Yeah, I think it's been done already. But really, I want more. I can't wait for 2 more weeks to come, so we can get after this again and get more information. And actually, let me pivot my wish, because that was said already, and although important, I want to know more about Kai and Guillermo and Kai to learn more about each other, because I think there's a lot of interesting conversations that are going to be had in the near future between those two characters. So that's my wish, is to get more time with Kai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for playing.
No, Dika.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Are we done, Dika? Stars and wishes?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I want to hear me.
Wow, Craig. Wow.
I'll be over here if you need me. Sorry. Real quick, everybody. Trail of Cthulhu this Saturday coming up. Episode 19. If you missed, if you've not been watching, you got to watch it. Yep. Episode 18, Brian gave a masterclass on building tension in a game. So you just need to catch up, because I think 18 alone is a GM masterclass. You got to check it out. 19 is going to be Everybody Dies. So it'll be towards the end of everything. On Tuesday the 14th, we've got Outgunned. We're getting to the tail end of that. We're on episode 6. If you want action movie fun, that's happening on Outgunned. And then if you want to see what might become the best Dika character yet on the channel, which is Silent Tempest, you've got to be watching Sentinel Comics. Her hero, who is a former villain, just stole the show in episode 2, and we're doing episode 3 on Thursday, January 16th. But great job, Connell. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well done.
Here's all.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.